All right, so if you're listening to this right now, it means that post-production intern has already done the intro. And pre-production intern is talking to you right now. Hi, Twitter user at Chekiardo, aka Charley, aka Checo Posting. Sun emoji. Welcome.
Wow. Hey. Hi.
We are here. We talking about your mans today.
We are. I'm the most qualified to talk about him, so.
We'll get to qualifying later.
Let's leave that to the end.
We'll get to qualifying later, but yeah. Sergio Perez's first year in Red Bull, so far at least. By the time you hear this, hopefully I can get this out before Mexico FP1. I doubt it will be hard to edit, but we're talking about Sergio Perez this year, right? So let's just start from, I want to say from the beginning, but the beginning kind of started last year, didn't it? It didn't really start this year.
Yeah, the beginning, the Red Bull hype, the who's going to get that Red Bull seat kind of was the beginning of it.
So we go back to Sakir. He wins the Grand Prix, and at that point, it becomes pretty much a crime to not sign him. You know what I'm saying? Albon was a young driver, and he was struggling at the moment. Perez was an experienced guy, and they were trying to mount a title charge for the next year. So they picked up Sergio Perez, and this was like his first opportunity at like a top team, right?
Yeah, and something he needed after the McLaren experience in 2013, really.
Yeah, because he was at McLaren and he pretty much, I don't want to say he betrayed Ferrari. He kind of did, but kind of made sense at the same time. Because he was in the Ferrari driver program.
Yeah.
And then he kind of sacrificed that for McLaren. It didn't work out. Went to Force India for a long ass time.
I mean, looking at McLaren at the time, I don't blame him.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since they were offering him a quicker track, because Ferrari had probably been making him wait for a couple more years. In Sauber, when he was getting podiums consistently. Well, not consistently, but 3 times in a Sauber in a year is not bad by any means.
Yeah, definitely. You know what I mean? So he could have taken the George Russell approach and just wait it out. But he took matters into his own hands, went to McLaren, just didn't work out. So he goes back to Force India, stat pads, podiums, pretty much establishes himself as one of the best in the midfield, and finally wins a Grand Prix. It doesn't even matter how he did it. Because, even if you think it was some luck shit, he still had to... He went from last to first.
In style.
You know what I'm saying? So we get to 2021. We get to testing. Red Bull are looking like a serious squad. I know it's funny. When I was watching the testing report, there were the team guide, because F1 puts up team guides for everybody after testing. And they said, if this car is a championship contender, we could potentially see some tension between Max and Sergio. To this day, it has not happened.
They're like best friends. They're like good little... Everyone thought, it was like with team dynamics, everyone got it the wrong way round of who was going to have tension, who was going to be best friends and close. Is being completely different to what people said, so...
It's weird. But, so we get to Bahrain, race 1. He doesn't make Q3. It's a bit of a bad miss, but, free tire choice, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's all right, Sergio, you're a tire saving guy. We gonna make this work, and his car dies on the formation lap.
I was gonna cry. I'm not gonna lie. That was not the highlight of my year. That was the worst thing ever. And I remember everyone on Twitter was like, "Oh, Charlie, we're so sorry." But yeah.
But the car did get back up and running.
It magicked back to on, and he got to the back of the grid, and then he drove up to P5.
P5. And what's funny though is that what people forget is he started from the pit lane, but because of the Mazepin crash, it kind of eliminated the penalty of starting from the pit lane because the car was safe. So he literally just started the race in last in a train. He just clawed his way up to P5 and all right, Sergio.
This is what we came for.
This is what we need, you know what I'm saying? So then we get to Imola, and this is where the bozo genes start to kick in, which is ironic because he had his best qualifying of the season. Literally beat Max and almost beat Lewis.
Yeah, I didn't watch Imola, which I'm kind of glad. I mean, I have seen it now. I didn't watch it live, so I was watching live timings while at work, and I just saw he wasn't close, and then went to sit down again. And I didn't know what happened, so coming back to see that, and then that was a bozo gene. I have to admit.
Yeah, so he passed some people under safety car, and he got penned for it, and then I think he served it, and then while he was down in the dumps trying to come back up, he spun.
Yep.
Came 11th, so that's a 5th and an 11th. Not the best way.
Nope.
It's not the best way to start, but
I'm pretty sure he got 12 on top as well, and it's only gone up because of a penalty. I might be lying. I feel.
What did you say?
I said I think he got P12 on track and only got moved up to P11 because of a penalty.
Oh. Yeah. But it wasn't all bad. So we go on to Portimao. He has a decent race. He's out there. He's going long on the hards. He's saving them tires. He gets held up by Mazepin a bit. That kind of messes up what he was going for. But he puts on them tires late and was like 5 or 7 seconds behind Bottas at the end. It was quite close.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was catching them guys. But yeah, 4th place was his best finish that season so far.
Portimao was pretty iconic because I think Portimao was the one where he was left out for ages, was leading the Grand Prix, and Lewis asked why he hadn't been blue flagged.
Yeah. Not
realising that he was in net position 1. So I would thought, even though it overtook pretty easily, because they did leave him out a long time, but he did his job. He held up, kind of kept the Grand Prix up. He didn't do much of a job of holding up because his tyres were literally shot. But he proved that he could do what they needed him to do.
So then after that, we go on to Spain. And here's the thing. I didn't know he was sick. He was apparently sick, like, the weekend. He wasn't 100%.
Yeah, I know there was a weekend. I was trying to remember actually what that was. He was really, like, ill or something, and he said about it to the press.
No, it was Spain, and I didn't realize it was. But I'm like, all right, maybe this kind of excuses you for the spinning quality that brought us where we were. But on the bright side, he did what I consider to be overtake of the year on Ricardo for P5. That was good.
I love
that. Was a good pass.
That was some pretty good stuff, and he can just perform well while sick. Man doesn't.
You can't be deterred, man.
You can't be stopped, and we're talking about that later because we've got a thingy coming up. We got the last GP anyway. We'll get to that, but you know. Yeah.
So, anyways, after that, we go to Monaco. Qualifies 9th, not looking too good, but he makes it from 9th to 4th. He effectively jumps 4 guys.
Yeah. He had a really good... So he waited... He looked like he was stuck, which he wasn't. It was more he was just managing as he does. Waited for them to hit and then went speed mode. So when he pit, he jumped everyone. When he came to his turn to pit, he waited, which was good of him, to be fair, because I was sitting there worried at the time. I was like, why are you not getting past Vettel in Aston Martin? This year's Aston Martin. I was like, okay. And then he proved that he always has a plan.
Yeah, but by right, I'm not gonna lie though, Vettel was class that week. He was really
yeah. I was more worried. I was more than Aston Martin. I think Vettel has had a few weekends where he's been great. I've just talked the car comparison, but Vettel was, yeah.
But anyways, lucky for you, this would be the last race you'd have to watch with Perez not on a Formula One podium for Red Bull, because we go to Baku. Your boy gets the dub.
I don't want to say Baku my beloved because Red Bull, but I love that race, okay? That was, and I have never ever, I was literally sitting, waiting my family, and I was like holding my breath on the restart because I genuinely thought I wasn't going to breathe. Yeah. And then what happened to Lewis happened, and I was like, I didn't know how to react. I genuinely didn't know what to do. Mm-hmm. I was like, is this actually happening? But yeah.
Here's the thing, man. I hate when people call it a lucky win, because what people need to realize is that he started the race in 7th. And by the end of the first stint, when he came out after his first pit stop, he was in 2nd place.
If he hadn't put himself in that position, I don't know what it is about him and Baku.
Yeah.
But apart from that, the race, obviously what happened to him. I've even in like, he's never really had like a necessarily by his fault a bad race in Baku.
Yeah.
Man is different in Baku. I don't know what it is.
He's Schumacher. Like, if every race was Baku, he'd literally be Schumacher.
He'd have so many championships by now with everyone racing Baku every week.
But yeah, man, your boy got the dub. You know what I'm saying? P1. First podium for Red Bull is a win. And people are like, all right, Sergio, we see what you're doing, but can you keep it up? And we go to France and he gets another one.
I was having like best couple of weeks of my life. The performance in France was incredible.
Yeah,
obviously that whole thing was perfect, and he was like, everyone was like, oh, you know, maybe here's what they need, a second driver, this is what we want. I remember the hype at the time. Everyone was like, he is what the world needs, you know. It was great.
It was. So he gets the podium in France, so we go on to the double header in Austria, and both races don't work out. The first one, he has a slow stop, so Bottas jumps him and survives for the podium. The second race, he gets run wide by Norris, and him and Leclerc have a spat. So he leaves the Austria doubleheader with a 4th and a 6th.
So in Syria, which was the first one, he actually put on a really good. If he hadn't, even Red Bull admitted, if they hadn't, they messed up the pit stop. They said if they hadn't messed it up, he would have got P3. Because if you look at how quickly he was like chasing Bottas down the end, I would not have wanted to have been Bottas in P3 with Checo gaining that rate, because
he was 14 seconds behind at one point,
and then he was speeding
for one.
Yeah, he was speeding towards him. If they'd had a couple more laps, he would have been P3.
But yeah, man, Austria was a decent stretch for him, but unfortunately now we get into the 3-race stretch where we looking at this dude and we're like, "Ayo, you can't be real, my G. There's no way you're a real human being putting in some of these performances." So we get to Britain. Were you actually like there?
So I was not only was I there, I was, not that this affects Checo's, I was sitting at Cops.
Oh my days.
In the cheap bit, which is right behind the barrier.
Yeah.
So I literally, because obviously it's just wherever you can sit, you take a seat. I had Max land right in front of me. In fact, when he was sitting there recovering, that was just in front of where I was sitting. So it was intense. But seeing that live, because we were having to try and watch it on screens while trying to watch what was happening on track in front of us. So I didn't even know what had happened to him until they replayed it, and I was trying to work out. I was like, he was fine, he was up there, and now he's gone. What happened?
So it actually starts the day before, because he messed up sprint quality.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. That's what
he lost the car, and I think they retired him. They're like, screw it, we'll just start from last. I don't remember.
They did retired him, and it was nightmarish. And there were 2 people in McLaren hats trying to comfort me because I was wearing my little Checo hat, looking quite upset. And they're like, it's okay, it's gonna be okay at the race. I was like, okay.
And then we get to the race, and he makes his way into the points positions. I'm still mad at him for the tangle with Raikkonen, but we move. And what happens is Red Bull pretty much take the point away from him so that he can take the point away from Lewis. Something I feel was just completely overblown by Twitter. I really did not see it as that deep.
No, the championship was more important, and realistically, that hadn't, as we said, that was not his greatest race. That would put it mildly. And it was like not worth the like couple of points. I think he's still like gonna get 8th, right? Maybe probably 9th. I can't remember exactly where he was, but it wouldn't have been worth, because of Max already out of the race. They had damage control at that point.
And they were basically just trying to stop Lewis from gaining any potential. And they did. But it's alright though. So Perez has a nightmare race in Britain, but it's okay.
We forget it.
There's always another race. So we go to Hungary, and he doesn't get to put in a final lap, so he's 4th, and that's fine. Was he 4th?
Yeah. Hang on, I think so. It was a good start for him. I think it was 4th, because I remember
he was definitely in Q3. I don't know if he was 4th or not.
Yeah, I was the one who came 4th. Because I remember him being high. Let me just check. I'm gonna check, see if I can find it out. But I feel like it was a good, because everyone was like, this is the best weekend he's had. It's one up since like Imola in qualifying. We're going well.
Yes, I'm pretty sure he was fourth, because I'm remembering where Norris was, but I'm remembering he had a great start. That's the only reason he was that high. So I think Checo was actually fourth, but none of that mattered. He'd actually have been better off having a bad quali that day, funny enough.
Watching Bottas move back. I don't think I've ever screamed so loud at a television during a race. I didn't know what I was watching.
Yeah, man. What's so weird about the Hungary accident is that how slow speed it was. It wasn't like this big 51G accident. It was slow and painful for everyone involved.
Watching Bottas hit both Red Bulls, and then just out of nowhere, Lance and Charles and Daniel got involved as well, and I was like,
"All right, let me clear up any misconceptions." Right, he didn't actually hit both Red Bulls himself. He hit Norris, and Norris did the job for him.
Norris both them into
But Perez has terminal damage to his car. He pulls over, retires, hits the tire in anger, and it's like, shit.
Is that the one that picture of him from that exact thing? I'm pretty sure of him just saying, "Why do I have to retire the car?" And then you look at a picture of the car and you're like, Checo.
You can't see it, but we can. But the best part of that weekend for Checo is him hitting his tire in anger. I was like, "Oh no, are you okay?"
Yeah, that was iconic. That was a cool thing.
He's a tire manager, like even when he's not racing.
I feel like if you look at the clip, he actually doesn't hit the tire. He just nearly hits it. I think he felt bad. I don't think he felt he could do it, and then he just gives it a little.
He can't abuse tires.
He gave it a pat
no matter what. But unfortunately, though, Charley, we get to his biggest, not only his biggest, but quite possibly the biggest bozo moment of 2021, in not only F1 but maybe in racing in general, maybe sports in general. Because like, I'm sorry, Sergio, I love you, bro, but what were you doing? Those were the easiest points you were ever going to score in your life. We cannot gloss over this. Those are the easiest points Sergio Perez was ever going to score in his entire Formula One career.
Just what you're talking about, because I've wiped that race from my memory entirely.
Of course, yeah, but it's okay. I'm gonna refresh you. Homeboy spins it on the formation lap, unprovoked. No one is near him. He just is like, "Oh, that barrier over there. That's kind of nice."
Grabbing snacks. And I was out of the TV, and I just was walking back in, and I heard them say something like, "A Red Bull's in the wall," and there was part of my heart knew it was not going to be Max.
Yeah.
The wall, and I'm like, "Who is it then?" Okay. And then they had the horrible thing to do to give me hope that they would let him race, and then the race didn't even exist. So
they did let him race. No, we can't in front. They did.
4 hours, really. So I sat through the whole.
I watched that race in a space with Prophet and them, and like we were just sitting down waiting for things to happen, and nothing did.
I brought like my Switch down. I brought things down to do and just sat and watched, but I didn't actually use anything. I just sat there, like sadly watching.
We were just watching drivers around the paddock doing just anything except race. Seb and Mick were like playing football. Raikkonen was in a corner by himself, sitting down. And it's like,
he just wanted to give the race. He knew the race wasn't going to happen and wanted to give us some drama. Because the only tension that day was, will they fix the Red Bull car? And everyone was getting a bit like, oh. And then they brought Checo back, and they were walking through the paddock. I was like, oh my god, he's come back. I was like, this is great. And then nothing happened.
It just doesn't matter at the end of it. Crazy. But, you know, these things happen. Everyone has a bozo moment.
Everyone's allowed it. I literally cried, but it's okay.
But we move on to the Dutch Grand Prix, where, once again, not the best qualifying. But on the bright side, you got to see homeboy move his way through the pack, so it was at least entertaining.
Yeah, I think this is where things start getting, apart from the quality, this is where things start getting good again. Sorta.
Yeah, so basically he, from last place, he packs both McLarens. Almost dies racing Norris again. This man has a Perez agenda, probably.
He really does.
But yeah, Sergio makes his way from dead. I don't think he was dead. Did he start the race? I think he did.
Yeah, because he took a penalty, didn't he?
He took a penalty, started last, tried to pass Mazepin, flat spotted, pit, jumped some people because of that pit stop, and just kept moving up. Good performance, but the quality, and it's, you know what's sad? I remember after the checkered flag wave, he was like,
the position, but I was concerned that Bottas was going to catch up with them. Checo worked his ass off to get McLaren a 1-2.
He did.
He was like, this boy's not coming past.
Yeah, and I was like, I remember you guys. We're still cool, it's fine.
Was that the race where it looked like Valtteri almost got past for a second, and then Checo got past again, and then
Valtteri did a mean switch back on that, brother. And then
Toto like desk slammed it, cut to Toto. Yes, it was like,
oh, that moment was beautiful. I almost put that moment in an edit of him I made, because like that was, oh my word, that was class. But you know, Monza, he comes home 5th. We move to Russia. Another disappointing quali, but he makes up for it in the race.
He did.
With an amazing one-stop. Well, it wasn't. It was one stop at the time until the rain came. But like this dude,
another podium lost to stupidity at the end. But anyway,
no, but hold on, Charlie, because this dude was brilliant in the dry. At least this man was sitting behind Lewis, just with his feet kicked up, eating popcorn, just watching this dude behind Ricardo struggling. He's like, look at Sergio manage those tires, bro. And so everyone in front of him pits, and then he pits, and all Red Bull have to do is be a serious crew for just 2.9 seconds. All they have to do is be serious for 2.9 seconds, and they couldn't do it. Right? They messed up the stop, and despite that, homeboy still claws his way into P3.
That's what he does.
And then the rains come, and we all know what happens after that.
He should have got that P. I'm so upset. That was 2 podiums where he technically... one race he finished in the podium position but lost it to a penalty. One race he lost it at the very end. At this point, I'm like, this man's owed. This man's owed a podium.
So he's pitting. Not only does he wait too long, but when he's actually going into the pits, he literally does what Lewis did the day before. He
he's trying. It's just Lewis was obviously he was trying to channel it. I've got to give him props for that. He was like, I'm gonna like just give it a little bump on the wall because that's what I saw Lewis do.
So Perez comes home P9, unfortunately, in a race that he could have low-key won, because I feel like if this pit stop didn't get messed up, he would have come out in cleaner air. He wouldn't have had to do that much battling, and he would have probably caught up to Lando and Lewis, considering he was in clean air, which was very important that day, and he had fresher tires. So he would have been near enough to them to benefit off of Norris being a bozo and Hamilton waiting quite a bit to pit. Yeah, I don't know if he would have gotten Hamilton though.
Probably, maybe not, but it would have been definitely a podium.
Yeah, it would have been a Red Bull 2-3, because if he did that, then Max doesn't finish second, he finishes third. Yeah. But you know, it's a small price to pay. We move because this was the last Sergio Perez race to happen this year that homeboy did not score a podium rather.
Here we go.
We go to Turkey.